Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Western Digital Dota 2 Pro Series of Titan versus Aero Gaming. This is Game 2 in the Best of 5 series between these two teams, and already looking to be a very, very active one. I mean, it was a slaughter with Clinks getting that early Orchid timing and rotating around so effectively. In the end, the game did spread out a while just for a clear and concise victory, but Titan takes it away and pulls into a 1-0 advantage, so they're trying to live the dream of a 3-0 shutout, but we can still see Aero Gaming for sure bounce back. I mean, they had some great fights, some great picks, and they're looking to play a similar style here. We're going to see most likely some Invoker play from DDZ this time around, and the tables have turned as Ember Spirit is now in the hands of Titan. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This looks to be a very, very interesting match, and thankfully I am joined by some wonderful co-casters. I've got Statsman of Sephiroth VG, and of course my co-caster of Whiplash. What's going on?
Hey man, what's going on, Blaze? And thanks as well, Sephiroth, for joining in and doing some cool in-game stats for us. Good to be here as well. Titan, they had a pretty solid game 1 Aero. Unfortunately, their Ember Spirit just couldn't get the farm that he needed and kind of led to Aero's late game kind of falling apart. I also do want to mention before we start talking about the draft that I have a free-to-play bundle, one of those bundles on the Steam store that's like about $20 worth of value of items from the free-to-play tournament or video. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Whiplash, at the end of the cast, I will pick a random person that follows me on Twitter, and I'll give them this free-to-play coupon. So yeah, if you want to follow me, cool. If not, it's fine as well. Just enjoy the casting.
Sure enough. Very cool documentary, of course, and they have some nice little cosmetics with there, the Feastacuros and all that, so that's pretty baller. But now looking at the draft, I mean, obviously they took a pounding last time around Aero Gaming. They were pretty distraught for the past 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes of the game, and one thing that really I felt they fell behind in was detection. They felt like they were getting the Sentry Wards up. They had the right mindset, but it was just too little too late. It was always one step behind the ganking invisible heroes. So I think that Lance might need to pick a more impactful hero. Like, he got so much time to freely split push, to just kind of do his own thing. And then when he came into the fights, he landed an arrow and he did some good right-click damage, but it wasn't as impactful as a hero that usually gets the amount of farm we saw from Lance. So we'll see if he can get anything more scalable, more direct as far as impact. But for right now, they have a good all-around draft. I mean, starting off with the Invoker and the Shadow Shaman, they banned out once again the Nature's Prophet and taking out the Bat Rider as well. Yeah, I mean, they feel pretty confident in this position to get some good early push and some good team fight. But Titan, they're showing something different. They have Enchantress. I mean, their support players in general are great at micromanagement. We could see some Ohio Nyx Assassin again, maybe some mid or carry Ember Spirit. But we're going to see Lance on the Lone Druid this time around. How do you feel about that?
Well, I have noticed that Lance does like to lane the Lone Druid in the safe lane. So we could be seeing some duo lanes from Aero Gaming. And, you know, with Titan having the Enchantress in that jungle, I could totally see that working just fine as far as giving them a little bit of boost early on. I'm also noticing that Aero Gaming, as usual, favoring that Shadow Shaman. They really like that hero. And Titan, once again, their first pick, first banning out the Centaur Warrunner, really valuing that hero very high. But I don't want the Ember Spirit to fall to the same fate that it did last game. I'm really hoping that Aero can make better use of that hero and give it the space it requires to farm and allow it to get the proper items to make him shine in the later stages of the game.
Yeah, certainly going to see the ball rolling a little bit. The Sleight of Fist will synergize pretty nicely with the Wave of Terror, but in general what we're looking at here is a lot of early push. In my mind, they don't want the Lone Druid to get too big. They want to kill him off a couple times, kill his bear off a couple times perhaps, and then really start moving rapidly towards aggression on towers with the Enchantress. I mean, she's actually a faster pusher than Chen because she does get the heal up earlier, so she has and her creeps are a little more throwaway, so she could take down a tier 1 very early on with the help of maybe Vengeful Spirit's aura, and then they can make their rotations as needed. But they're very gank-oriented, they're very push-oriented, and this is going to get a lot of gold on the board. Very important for Ember Spirit to get a good start, maybe go for a basic Magic Wand, bottled Drones of Endurance, and then transition into either a Desolator or a Battle Fury. And then, of course, Nyx Assassin getting an early blink won't be too shabby either. But Aero have a pretty good answer right now. Aether Shock clears out creep waves pretty effectively. Earthshaker, one of the better turtle heroes in the game. And Invoker, depending on the build-up, has a lot of counter push as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Arrow's still favoring to have a good amount of disable and
10
lockdown on their
seconds
team.
remaining.
Really, both teams to that end. It seems that they were not lacking
5
lockdown
seconds
in game
remaining.
one, and it's going to repeat in game two. So I'm totally down with that. I like when teams have a
Reserve
lot of
time.
disables and don't just try to rely on slows and like catching people out of position or something to secure kills. And yeah, Vengeful Spirit with that aura as well. Going to help a little bit with that early
10
push, I
seconds
feel, if they
remaining.
want to put some points in that early on. Probably
Radiant
won't, but
team banned.
at least it'll be good kind of towards the mid stages. And on top of that, the last hero to be banned out from Titan is going to be that Timbersaw. And going, okay, I'm glad the Lifestealer got banned by
Dire
Air
team
Game. That
pick.
is the carry I was expecting for Titan as that position one, just mainly because of that lone druid.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, the Clinks is still in the pool. If they really wanted something that can dish out a lot of right-click damage to towers, as well as get some prominence with the Nyx and have some invisibility, we've already seen it work very well. The big difference here is that Arrow isn't as susceptible to Orchid. Earthshaker is frustrated by it, Shadow Shaman shut down, Invoker as well, but at least the Lone Druid will be able to do something. He's totally right-click based as long as he's got the Rabbit and the Bear up, so I could see maybe they'll shy away from the Clinks, but it's tried and true, man. It definitely did a lot of work last game, having that available, and I don't know.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The Clinks did very well. And, okay, it's going to be the Mirana from Titan as their last pick, so I'm worried that Mirana is not bringing a huge amount of right-click damage, at least until the later stages of the game, which is going to make Lone Druid's time a little bit easier early on. But it does bring them a lot of utility. I mean, Braun is, of course, a very versatile hero, and that's another stun in whatever lane they want to go into as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. I'm not sold on the Mirana,
remaining.
but I will reserve my judgment.
Yeah, I mean, all around it's a good hero. It's never a bad pick. I mean, she can be very escapable, very maneuverable, has high damage potential. Just has to be really in the right place and the right setup. But if you think about it, like Shadow Shaman, he has to stand still to shackles. He pretty much is forced into a position where he either cancels his shackles prematurely just to dodge out an arrow, or he gets stunned in the face. So damned if you, damned if you don't. It's just a difficult position to be in. Along with that, they have set up like Searing Chains, like Magic Missile. They really have a number of utilities to set up these arrows, and they definitely could be a defining aspect of this game. It just really depends on who picks up Mirana and how effectively it is played. But for right now, we're going to see some early aggression, and Arrow, they're not going with a Lance Lone Druid, they're going with a Lance Morphling.
Ooh, Morphling, man, I love it. I love seeing Morphling. He is just one of those fun heroes to see play, man. You get a good start on him, and he just starts going all around the map, picking off people, using that shotgun. So I guess if it's going to be a Lance Morphling, then that will put Lone Druid in the middle lane, actually, or Arrow Gaming potentially. No, wait, never mind. I take that back. He's going to be in the off lane.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We have DDZ for the mid lane Invoker.
Yeah, and I have seen Xiang Zai do some really solid things on Lone Druid. It's just we see Lance pick him up so much more frequently, you don't even think about it. But they could definitely run this as a position 3. Lone Druid will be doing pretty good. And the Morphling, since he isn't up against the silence, just the straight-up stun disables, he's actually going to be able to do pretty well. He can waveform out of Searing Chains, he can dodge Magic Missile, but potentially Impale as well, and if worst comes to worst, he does get hit by an arrow, he still has Morph, and he can still activate that while he is disabled. So that's pretty solid, and we have seen him do so much work on this hero in the past that you just love to see it. Anyways, to start things off, we'll go through introductions for the two sides here in the Western Digital Pro Series finals of Series number 1. And looking over the side of Arrow Gaming in the Radiant corner. Going to be seeing supporting it up. It's going to be Johnny running on the Earthshaker here, supporting it up with some early smoke, perhaps ganking and moving about. We are going to be seeing Lance on this Morphling going for an early Basilius, perhaps Aquila, as that did get buffed in 6.8. Then we do see the Lone Druid coming through. He is going to be running in the off lane, that is Xiang Zai. That leaves the Shadow Shaman to be played by Mozen and supporting it up as well. Now, of course, DDZ will be picking up the Invoker. Not sure what orbs he's going to be running just yet, though. In this case, they already have so much damage later on that they might just want to go for the Wex for a little bit of counter push and mana burn utility. Anyways, that leaves Titan, and I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, if we go ahead and introduce the Titans, of course, Teen Titan, we have Mirana. That's going to be played by Yamate, aka NWP, for those of you not too familiar with the C scene. And over in the jungle, we're going to have this Enchantress, which will of course be be played by Extinct, aka X. Ember Spirit, it's going to be KYXY. I really hope he has a better game than the Ember Spirit on Arrow's End had last game. And moving over to the last two heroes, Net will be playing on the Vengeful Spirit. And last but not least, the offlaner, his name is Ohio, on the Nyx Assassin from Titan.
This time I'm going for a boots first build, and I'm kind of curious what made him go for the boots first over the poor man's shield first, but we're already going to see some action, so we'll see Johnny in a crazy position here compared to Ohio and Net. They really want to force him away from those ancients, and another magic missile, this haste rune, right clicks coming out, and Johnny dropping low. Ohio wants this impale. Can he get it though? Gonna go for it. He will get the kill. Now dropping low to the creeps, though. Doesn't have that poor man shield. Can't tank through it. A single TP, and this will be a return kill. But Ohio, for right now, it looks to suicide to the tower here. He buys his TP scroll. He is only running reliable gold, so he loses nothing for it. And I think that the Earthshaker was out of experience range. Yeah, 0 out of 200. So in the end, they get the first blood. They only give up a little bit of gold spread across 5 heroes. It's really a solid movement from Titan with that haste.
Yeah, absolutely. Making the best of the scenario that they kind of had in front of them. Ohio really liked what he did there, preventing the experience, of course, from the Earthshaker. Very nice, because it would have been solo experience on top of that. Well, Vengeful Spirit got caught by a cold step. I'm just going to go ahead and back up for the time being. So KYXY, he's going for a Flame Guard, a Sleight of Fist opening. Guess he'll get a point in chains, maybe 2 later on. We'll have to see. But yeah, Titan. I really like what they did with that opening. Looked really good, and they already have potential smoking coming around as well. Enchantress with a few creeps, and as well Net is smoked up. And Johnny waiting in the trees. He's staying in the trees. I don't know if that's going to help him, though. If he gets spotted out, the smoke's revealed. And okay, Johnny reveals himself. We're going to see Ember Spirit move forward onto DDZ. It looks like he should have enough right click, and yeah, he's going to get the kill. Net running away. He's going to spot the double damage rune as well. And yeah, so overall, nice little trade for Titan.
Not at all how Arrow wanted this mid lane to go. They were looking to go for Fisher blocks, just deny things to the Ancients, and make sure that Ember Spirit doesn't get any experience while Invoker gets all of it. Both Lone Druid and Invoker really need to get early levels to make any impact on the game whatsoever. And right now, this Invoker getting picked off, some very smart smoke movement. I mean, you usually expect, okay, well, Dire supports are smoking. They're going to be coming in from this top flank, from the Radiant Ancient area. But instead, they came all the way around, and although the Fisher did split things up a little bit, they still net their second kill of the game. So looking really strong right now. Johnny, he's doing his best to support, but he's still level 1. And Titan really are just trying to strike first.
Yeah, Arrow, they wanted to make that middle lane work, like you mentioned, Blaze, and it's not the best position they want to be in. I guess Invoker, he has a few last hits, definitely less than the Ember Spirit, 8 to 12. We'll have to see, though, how KYXY fares as the game moves on. As you know, as we saw last game, Ember Spirit had a great start, and then after that he proceeded to die like 1,000,000 times. So here's the hoping that doesn't happen again. But, yeah, for the time being, things looking pretty good for a Titan early on. Not a huge advantage, but certainly a good place to be in if you're a Titan fan.
Yeah. Still not really emphasizing push as much as I thought they would. They're kind of giving Xiangzai a little bit of space here on the Lone Druid. Sure, he's not going to get a kill on Mirana because she has 2 points in her leap to keep that on short cooldown and decent range. But all in all, that does mean that the Lone Druid will be able to find some farm. 17 for 1 right now, controlling the lane pretty effectively with this Orb of Venom boots. And until the supports rotate in, he's going to feel pretty confident about moving in for an early item pickup like phase boots and try to push hard from there. Anyways, DDZ still level 4, which is pretty bad when you consider Ember's halfway to level 6 here. But the big thing to look out for is Searing Chains with double damage. Ohio, waiting in the wings, 2 points in Impale, sees DDZ, but Ember Spirit's not close enough and doesn't have his Fire Remnants. But now he sees him kind of farming up on the neutral creeps. And this is going to be plenty of time for the Enchantress to rotate on through. X coming in with Centaur and Satyr. And this is a 3-man movement against Invoker.
Yeah, I think DDZ is out of the picture. He gets a cold snap off just to kind of annoy Ohio, but that's about it. Nyx Assassin doing a really good job just rotating around the map, Yeah, Arrow, they are pretty much getting free farm in the bottom lane, but they have been absolutely controlling the middle lane. And oh no, in the top lane, Titan, they get a kill on the Lone Druid's Bear. That is definitely 300 gold that they did not want to give away. That's like a tower there, basically. And we're also seeing a few more members of Titan rotating towards that bottom lane. I think they may be able to get a pincer on Lone Druid.
This is even bigger. Like 300 gold's one thing, but killing the Lone Druid after he's already lost his bear on cooldown for 120 seconds, it would be so huge to get this kill. They do pop the Moonlight Shadow, but are disrupted by that Fissure, and they don't actually go for the bear itself, focusing now maybe on the tower. So 4-man top lane does give some space for DDZ in the mid, and he does luck out. The RNG Searing Chains go for the creeps instead. But even so, they are under so much pressure right now, and Titan don't want to give them any position in this game. Sure, Lance will get some farm, but that's all they're going to allow.
Yeah, I guess that is the one thing that Arrow has going for them. Lance is doing pretty darn good as far as farm is concerned. But, I mean, they don't really have anyone in the jungle farming up. There's like not a Sand King to stack creeps and do a little bit of jungling. It's just the Shadow Shaman stacking up a few creeps here and there. But we're really noticing, look at how active Titan are being on the map. They are freaking all over the place, just being very aggressive and keeping Arrow on their toes.
Going to be moving up towards the top lane. This should be the death of the Lone Druid Bear. His cooldown isn't as in bad of shape, but there's no way that Earthshaker can help him here. I mean, this is a hasted Ember Spirit right on top of him, even with his ultimate. A nice stun, some nice turnaround damage, but the Impale is going to be enough. Now Mosin coming through with a great Earthshaker Shock. There's going to be the Spike Carapace. Oh, the Sunstrike actually picks off Ohio, so first legitimate kill on the board for Arrow. They're pretty happy to at least get something for themselves, and at least they got something.
Unfortunately, they do lose the Druid, but yeah, something's better than nothing for sure, Blaze. That's also really nice for this Invoker, considering how he hasn't had the best lane as far as mid goes. He did die twice. Ember Spirit already at the 2-0 lead, and his farm's looking pretty solid as well. About 34 last hits at this point. We're going to see Ohio rotate back towards that bottom lane, but Lance, he already has a Ring of Health. This guy even has a Ring of Basilius as well, and some other nice utility items to kind of keep him in the lane essentially for as long as he wants to be. Actually, waveforming forward, getting a little aggressive, but yeah, he's not going to kill Ohio. Just wants to kind of scare him away for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's pretty happy with static farm in the lane. If he wanted to push, he absolutely could have 3 minutes ago, turning Basilius on and just waving down every single creep wave. But he's mostly been focusing on static farming, staying alive, and getting that early CS towards Lincolns. And of course, he'll find it at a great time, but we'll see if it's fast enough for his team to get back on their feet. I also want to talk a little bit about warding. They're back in it now. Almost 8 minutes in the game, they dropped down 2 observer wards, one on the mid lane and one up towards that top eyeball rune ward, and that's effective enough. But before that, they got de-warded on their Ancients. They had a lane ward down for Lance when there was actually no confrontation there whatsoever. And, oh, Shackle's getting disrupted by Mosin, the Carapace, getting that early tick out and reflecting it. But, yeah, it's just like until this point, they were absolutely blind on the map, and that was extremely unfortunate for them. Now they see their opponents coming, but can they do anything to stop it here with this top tier 1?
I don't know. There's a few big creeps on the front lines that kind of tank a little bit of damage and as well damage the tower. And yeah, with the Hellbear Smasher and the sheer amount of Titan members here, I don't think that Arrow can defend this. I mean, you can tell they want to, but I don't think they can really handle the team fight at this point. Morphling's still busy farming. Want to see Yamato rotate towards the bottom lane. Morphling getting very aggressive. He's going to back up, though, for the time being. As well, KYXY, look at him, man. He's just trying to go straight up man mode. I guess he doesn't realize Johnny is still hiding in the trees over to the left, waiting for his perfect opportunity to strike, but no action will happen, at least for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to pin him down. Sure, you can get a root off, but he still has those fire remnants up and kicking. He can always jump back to the safety as long as he has 150 mana. And yeah, Johnny has a great flank, but now he's been caught out. The range creep found him, and honestly, KOXY could go for a solo kill right here. He could have easily killed off the Earthshaker, nothing that he could do in response, but now that he's under his tier 2, feels a lot less confident about that. So he'll just keep farming away. The fire remnant is still up and kicking, and here he goes. Flame Guard active, so much damage over time, and Xiangzai looks to fall.
Yeah, he's just going after the Lone Druid. The Earthshaker could be next. Ember Spirit not overcommitting. Just playing it extra safe and even moving back to his Fire Remnant, but very well played, and he picked off the higher value target as well, which is a very nice decision making. I think the Earthshaker would have been an easier target, but the Lone Druid definitely more important to kind of keep out of the picture, at least for the time being. So very good decision making on Titan's end, and this Ember Spirit, he's got 3 kills, 46 last hits, 10 minutes into the game, so not bad on that end. He's looking pretty darn good right now.
Wow, Titan are just reading Arrow like a book. You look at the observer wards that I was talking about, the one they put in mid, the one they put up top. Now they're going for Roche, and they have absolutely no idea this is happening. They go for the Arrow, they have Wave of Terror Medallion, so Roche is sitting at -4 armor. He's hitting an untouchable hero with the ice armor buff from the Ogre. There's like, Roche is doing nothing. They're just getting the perfect lineup to do it with 3 relatively weak heroes. Like, this is just exactly how you do it. Titan playing on the next level. They get the Aegis, they get a Roshan kill at 10.5 minutes, and they are looking to dominate this game.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy for Titan. Things certainly are looking to snowball in their direction. This Ember Spirit's already having a better game than the previous one, essentially. And everyone else on the Titan has essentially done very well. We saw the Nyx Assassin do a little bit of rotating, helping out a lot. In the bottom lane, though, we're going to have a stun. We're going to go on Mosin. Arrow follow-up just to get the kill. Nice little arrow coming out from Mirana. And they are going the Force Lance away. I think he has to kind of go back for the time being. We're looking at another Tier 1 tower to go towards the ways of Titan.
Yeah, there's nothing to really stop him. Lone Druid will get a little bit of space and opportunity up on the top lane here. He does have his phase boots up, but KYXY is here to meet him and is going to be able to, at the very least, clear out the creep wave while his allies push down bottom. Does go for it pretty hard, and with the stun coming out from Ohio, that's going to be a kill on the Lone Druid once again. That is his 3rd death in not even 12 minutes, and we do see on the mid lane now some aggression from Lance, a canceled TP. But not sure if they can hold it now that they canceled it. Like, Yamate actually tried to Moonlight Shadow his ally in, but the Sentry Ward was there anyways. So they probably would have died if they continued with that TP. The problem is, by canceling it, they forfeit their Tier 1 tower. Arrow will not connect on anything. And only now. Right click coming on net. Oh, does he? Great.
Snap allowed everything to essentially connect at once. Lance, at least netting himself a little bit of assist gold. Yamate has to be careful. He's actually into the Roshan pit. Want to make sure that it doesn't get picked off. Only just shy of 1,600 gold for the time being. And yeah, let's see. KYXY has his drums, saving up a good amount of gold. I'm assuming he's going to go for that Battle Fury next. He saved up this much money so far. He's well on his way towards getting that. But on Arrow's end, item-wise, Morphling's still working on that Lincoln Sphere for the most part. Invoker does have his Hand of Midas, and Necrominion 1 at least completed for him. But beyond that, there's really not much items from Arrow's end.
Yeah, they really need to get this roster to level 6, Earthshaker as well, but a little bit less a priority since he, of course, won't even have a blink for a long time. Gets hit by a long-range arrow, but no really way to fall through. The bottom line is they need to get some ultis active, they need to win a fight, because right now, of course, they're down. A lot of kills. Oh, wow, Yamate actually almost dropping there. The Exhorts, that's 4 points in it. That would have been enough with such a low base HP hero. But at best, it would have just popped the Aegis of the Immortal, which will be reclaimed in 3 minutes anyways.
Yeah, I mean, having that early Aegis, it's still great, but I wouldn't say as big of a game breaker as it would be in a late game scenario where you're pushing the tier 3 and, you know, you're potentially fighting against 5x and such. Still, though, nice to have. But it'll probably just end up expiring over time. I don't anticipate that being popped for the time being. We are going to see a smoke from Titan, putting up a few aggressive wards in the middle lane. Oh man, they're just looking for someone to kill, and it could be, oh, poor old Johnny on the Earthshaker. Alright, Titan, they're going to spot him. Out comes the stun, and Earth Spirit, Searing Chains, easy kill. They're going to follow up, and trying to kill DDZ. Out comes the Sunstrike, it doesn't really matter. Another easy kill for Titan. They're going to follow it up with a tier 1 tower as well, so yeah, this game is really just looking very solid for Titan.
And look at top lane. Ohio's going to stock up on Mozen. Easy right click. Boom. He's gone. And it's just a low armor intelligence here for you. We're going to see an attempt to TP out. I think it will be successful. The Searing Chain's not going to be on the mark. So they will get away with the Lone Druid himself, and the Spirit Bear not going to get the recall. So they get the kills in the mid lane. They get the Spirit Bear, and they're quite happy with that.
Oh, he's phasing. He's trying to escape, but yeah. Last hit, 300 gold to Nyx Assassin. He has more than enough money. Picks up that Blink Dagger. In the bottom lane, though, Lance, he gets a good nuke. Kills off the Vengeful Spirit. That's the problem for Arrow. Lance is the only one that actually seems to be doing half decent at this point in the game. Yeah, he did have free farm in the bottom lane. He's well on his way towards that Blink Dagger, but beyond that, no one else on Arrow's been having an especially good game.
Well, they aren't out of this yet. I mean, they still have all their tier 2 towers up and essentially at full HP. So they still have plenty of time for Lance's farm to really kick in. The Lincoln Sphere will be up in a very short time period, within the next minute or so. And they don't have to worry about the Aegis anymore, if that was any problem. But you look at Morano's farm, and it's matching Morphling tit for tat. Like, he doesn't have the Aquila, but otherwise has the exact same item build-up. No Aquila and no Magic Wand, but does find the Lincolns at an even faster time than the complete free-farm Morphling. So, yeah, Morphling will be a bigger threat to Titan, but as a whole, Titan just have this blanket advantage over Arrow Gaming.
Yeah, they certainly do. And we're going to see Lance. He's getting pretty close to the enemy Titan here as they're smoked up, looking for someone to kill in the jungles. They don't spot anyone just yet, throwing down a few wards just to get a little bit more map control. They're being very aggressive with their wards this game from the look of things. And yeah, it looks like the smoke is going to be used up. Nothing's going to happen beyond that. They are looking to get a tier 2 tower potentially. Everyone is rotated towards the bottom lane from both teams actually, if we take a look at the entire map. So can Arrow defend a tier 2 tower? Can they use that advantage? That's the question. Out comes Searing Chains. DDZ kind of stuck in the back for the time being. Here comes that bear, but it's already at half health and there's some negative armor on it. I don't know how long it's going to survive. Very low on health. Down go the Serpent Wards as well from the Shadow Shaman. And the bear, it's down. Lone Druid not going to be too useful in the team fight. A follow-up stun as well. Nice and hell coming out from the Nyx Assassin before he dies, but still, it's a 2-for-1 trade so far in the fight. And we are seeing Arrow kind of just be very defensive behind that tier 2 tower. It looks like Titan did get the better end of that engagement.
Look at Earthshaker's experience right now. He's so close to having Echo Slam, but he barely has the mana for it. He's heading back to base. He can't turtle without that Echo, and they weren't under the Serpent Wards for very long at all. They dropped him down pretty close to their tower. They dropped down a couple Sentry Wards to try to stay on target against that Moonlight Shadow, but in the end, Titan just had the smarter positioning. They take down the bear, of course. They take down the Lone Druid himself, and although they don't get the tower, they kind of fight them blow for blow. So still continued advantage for Titan, but Arrow holds the line, and they are going to try to just push on, soldier on, and get Lance to a crazy state where he can take on 3 heroes at a time.
Yeah, in Lance we trust, I suppose, when it comes to Arrow, because this Lone Druid has not really done too much this game, unfortunately. He has a good amount of gold saved up to 2,300. I guess wanting to try to get that Radiance. He's going to have it later rather than sooner, unfortunately, though. He's just died a few too many times, I feel. He's already down 4 deaths. That bear has died on 3 separate occasions as well. 900 gold that Titan did not need to have.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So really strong overall for Titan. Of course, they have the Blink Dagger up on Nyx Assassin now, but Earthshaker has found his at a decent time. You have to remember that unreliable gold buff, 6.79. Even just sitting in the fountain, he's gradually accumulating enough gold to move towards that important item. So really hasn't gotten anything good for him. 2 assists for 2 deaths, but he has farmed up 21 last hits and now sits on that blink. So at level 6, a 3-0-2-1 build, he will be able to get some good aftershock damage out and hopefully a solid Echo Slam. It's really what they need to have happen if they have any chance of this game.
Yeah, well, he has the Blink Dagger. That's definitely the important part of that Echo Slam. At the amount of summons coming out from Titan, they're going to have a few extra thanks to the Enchantress. That's going to be nice, I suppose, at least. I guess Arrow will have a good amount of summons of their own with the Lone Druid, as well as the Invoker Necro minions, which is up to level 3, by the way. Ohio, he's taking a lot of right-click damage and forced to use those wand charges. Another hit or two, and he will go down. EDZ going to turn around on Yamata, force the leap away. And Marana doesn't want to fight against the wrath of the level 3 Necro minions and the Forged Spirits. Just a little bit too much right-click to deal with that situation. So he backs away. And we're going to see Arrow smoke up their supports. Looking to get a kill. Maybe they can get Yamata. They got to pop that Lincoln.
Oh!
They use the
No!
Oh my gosh, what a leap. Lincoln Spear as well definitely kept him alive in that situation. He would have not survived without that as the item.
That was very unfortunate for Johnny. He used the Aftershock, or he used the Echo Slim to try to get the stun on the Marana. She wasn't even in Aftershock range. She was outside the 300 radius, so that was a complete waste of cooldown, just doing a tiny bit of damage to her. And then, like you said, the Lincoln Sphere, having that available, kept her alive. And now that they're alive, they go for Roche once more. Wave of Terror, Medallion, there's your Untouchable. They don't even need the Ice Ogre this time around. Should probably back out the Satyr, since that's causing the Roche to slam, or at least move Yamate away. But either way, they'll be able to take it down at a good time, and the Nature's Attendants seem to be sufficient. So, yeah, that's going to be another early Roche kill. 21 minutes, they've taken Roche twice, and you can obviously see the impact as far as experience and gold. So, once again, Aegis of the Immortal on the Marana, and we'll see what she's going to do with it.
Yeah, the EXP difference is about 2,500, but I'm actually really surprised that Titan only has a 2,000 gold advantage. I'd expect a lot more from them, because of how many of the Lone Druid's bears they've killed and how many Roshan kills they've gotten. It's actually still relatively close, so that's actually really surprising.
Yeah, but the one thing, like, obviously we expected Lance to do extremely well. He was free farming like crazy, he got a couple solo pickoffs, but look at Invoker's net worth right now. Like, he was shut down multiple times over some great movement from Titan supports, but he gets his hand on Midas, he is now sitting on Necro 3, and he has just farmed up a Storm.
Yeah, he certainly has. Invoker actually looking really darn scary with this Necrominion 3, and he already has 2,000 gold in the bank. We'll be able to pick up another item relatively soon. Lone Druid deciding, I'm just going to go for the Maelstrom this time around, not going to try to get that Radiance. But, yeah, in Titan's end, still trying to be somewhat aggressive, but the game has kind of, toned down a little bit for the time being. Just a few pickoffs here and there. I guess Arrow, they really are forced to, like you mentioned earlier, Blaze, kind of sit back and turtle a little bit more with that Earthshaker.
Yeah. I think they actually do trump Titan's lineup super late game, though. I mean, they got the Lone Druid and the Morphling, two pretty greedy pickups that don't contribute that much to the laning phase. But now that they're kind of in their prime, at least the Morphling is, of course, the Lone Druid very set back. The late game, they do have a lot of potential. They can replicate one of Titan's heroes, and presumably that won't be enchanted. It's very possible that it could be, and that would go the way of Titan. But either way, the Morphling himself can do a lot with some early stat pickups. We already see him moving in towards that Ethereal Blade, and if he can bring down Vengeful Spirit before the fight begins, that's quite an impressive feat for them.
In the middle lane, Ember Spirit just kind of got picked to pieces, unfortunately. Arrow, they're really putting on the pressure. They have a lot of summon units. It looks like it's going to be a tier 2 tower for tier 2 trade. We're seeing Titan. They want to just keep pushing forward. Morphling, Lance, he's back, teleported to the bottom lane. And okay, we're going to go ahead and see Titan move back to defend on the high ground at the tier 3.
Yeah, so the whole playing a game of chicken here. Titan's the ones to flinch. They did lose the Ember Spirit. I didn't actually catch it on camera. I didn't expect him to be there at all. That was kind of awkward for him, but they do pin him down, and it just shows how much of a glass cannon he can be. Now going for a Battle Fury plus Crystallis build-up. Has a lot of potential damage output if Arrow clumps up a little bit too hard. Of course, they do have some summons as well, Forge and Necronomicon. So, although that does increase the amount of time a Sleight of Fist will take, he will be doing a little bit of extra cleave damage, although at a 50% mitigation, I believe.
Yeah, let's see, 35? Yeah, 35 per cleave. Well, yeah, Arrow at this point, I mean, it's 7 to 12. And it's 24 minutes in the game, so not a huge amount of kills on the board. Looks like Shotgun is ready on the Morphling. He has picked up the Ethereal Blade, so lots of extra bonus damage. Burst damage coming in from his end. So I'm waiting to see if he can get any early easy pickoffs on Titan's end. As far as their lineup goes, if you look at their heroes, besides the Mirana, they're all relatively squishy. And I only say that Mirana isn't relatively squishy because of that Lincoln Sphere.
Yeah. And you usually look at Enchantress and say, okay, well, he can tank through a lot because of the Untouchable, but Morphling's one of the few heroes that doesn't really care about Untouchable whatsoever. While you're in waveform, you can't be afflicted by it. You will still get that auto attack off, and then pop, pop, Adaptive Strike, Ethereal Blade. Huge amount of damage coming out, and she only is sitting on 800 HP with Power Treads on Strength. It's not sufficient right now when you consider how much Lance can do. So we'll see them push a bit on the top. Of course, the Radiant getting the bottom tier 2 as Lance just continues to push out. But oh my gosh, Mirana losing the Aegis very abruptly. The Lance now sitting low on mana.
They did have a bit of a skirmish earlier on. Yamata threw out an arrow and didn't really hit anything. Lance decided that was his time to strike. He moved in there and just took out Yamata. So not a bad trade. Just popping the Aegis essentially for free and forcing a lot of pressure into Titan's corner in that top lane, or the bottom lane, excuse me. And Lone Druid, Ohio's right next to him. But we also have Earthshaker in the trees, just standing by waiting to help him out. So, not going to see any engagements there. And Lance and Yamata just continuing the kind of trade blows back and forth. The arrow goes out, it's going to be juked. Lance, he waveforms away for the time being. There's going to be a jump as well from Yamata. It's just a back and forth fight between them. But no deaths.
No, not so much. I mean, if the Lincoln Sphere wasn't up on Mirana, she'd be certainly dead, but that's just such an easy utility in a 1 versus 1. You'd nullify 1 spell guaranteed. Now we're going to be seeing a smoke come through for 3 heroes. The Sentry Ward won't detect anything, so that means that we are going to be seeing a very successful flank to gank. I mean, I don't think Mosin gets out if they actually catch sight of him and not at the bottom of a cliff. Like, if Mosin's standing at the top, maybe a tornado will aid his escape, but Titan's actually making some interesting movements here. They really want Lance, but they have to commit hard to him. Ohio going in first with this Vendetta. If he gets this stun off, I think they can kill him. We'll see. Popping the Lincoln Sphere. There's a Searing Chains. Magic Missile comes out, and that's a kill. A very much needed kill.
Yeah, he was just kind of sitting there AFKing for a little bit, and it was just enough time for Titan to get in there. They popped the Lincoln Sphere, got the stuns off, and easy pickings for Titan. They did have to commit a lot, like you said, but really, I mean, he's the hero to kill on Arrow's end if you want to win these team fights.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he's only down for 35, so that's not that big of a blow to Arrow either, but setting back his gold a little bit, he really wants to just ramp up momentum, get as much agility as possible, tank up a little bit too, and he'll be a defining factor in these team fights. But for now, looking at their opening, 20 seconds remain on Morphling's Death Timer, and this is enough for a tier 2, I believe.
Yeah, looking like it. Out goes an arrow. Not going to hit anything. Ember Spirit as well, hacking and slashing away a little bit with that Sleight of Fist combo with that Battle Fury. And they're looking for somebody. We do have Lone Druid up in the top lane. He was forced away, and Titan... Okay, they're backing away for the time being, picking up that double damage rune on the Mirana.
Yeah, they're really worried about this Echo Slam.
Take it out. Yeah, that Echo Slam. I can see why they're afraid of that.
What do you think this Earthshaker's building up? Like, the Road of the Magi, is he going for treads? I don't really... I mean, like, the Veiled Discord's great, the Aghanim Scepter's great, but kind of splitting between the two doesn't make much sense to me.
Honestly, I'm not sure, man. I mean, the point booster is great for a little bit of extra stats. Maybe he eventually wants to get that scepter built up. But he could decide kind of halfway through he wants to get a different item. All right, a little bit of action. Some right click, some Sleight of Fisting.
Oh!
Now comes the shotgun. Holy crap. That is one that chances. But as well, the Spirit Bear. Very low on health. It's down as well. Johnny, he throws out the Echo Slam. Down goes the Meatball as well. KYXY running away. And it's currently 3 for 2. Arrow. Oh, they're evening it up. 2 for 2. Kill off the Mirana.
Yeah, she was... Look at where she was. She was trapped in with the Mass Serpent Wards on a cliff, leaped to the side, and that was an unfortunate mistake. The Moonlight Shadow not coming out in time, but we do see a Blink Stun coming out on Ohio, and this is going to be the death of Xiang's Eye. So, I guess an even exchange after all of that, but the big deal is that Lance just got to walk away. He replicated out at extremely low HP, and now he gets to push bottom, while Titan pushes top. You just saw how quickly that Enchantress evaporated with that quick shotgun combo, and Yeah, she did get the enchant off on the Invoker's Necro 3 melee minion, so that's effective enough. Like, she still contributed something, but it's just so devastating to lose that so abruptly.
Yeah, and Enchantress only has 815 health, so that is something to keep in mind. I really would like to see a little bit of extra health on her, considering the straight-up burst damage that this Morphin can do with that Ethereal Blade waveform combination, and then, you know, following up with the Adaptive Strength. Ooh, Ohio is going to move forward. Lance, yeah, his Lincoln Sphere is used up. He throws out the Ethereal Blade as well. He's trying to TP away, but he's not going to get out of this one.
Yeah, they really... That was almost awkward. He force-staffed himself and almost missed the Impale, but they got the Searing Chains, and that was a very clean kill.
Yeah, and it looks like Titan, they want to get their third Roshan of the game. Pretty much on point every 10 minutes or so. They're just going into the pit. They're picking up their free Aegis, and they're even going to get some bonus cheese as well this time around.
Yeah, very effective. I mean, they do have a pretty solid Roche team in general, and every time the Morphling's down, they want to take advantage of it. They didn't really get the tier 2 in mid, but they will get the Roche here, and cheese is a pretty big deal to put on the Ember Spirit here, I suppose, because he does rely on both his HP and mana pool, and he is one of the few heroes that won't be 100-0'd by Morphling. As we saw, Ember Spirit, he got hit by a Replicant. He's like, okay, I got to bring that down. We don't want Morphling just jumping all over the map. So he does kill it off, but actually ends up baiting Lance in for what was a fruitless endeavor, trying to kill off and burst down a flame-guarded Ember Spirit. So, yeah, now he's got the cheese. He's got his full Daedalus crit on top of a single Battle Fury, and he is looking to get pretty beastly from here.
Alright, well, it looks like our Enchantress will be picking up an Ultimate Orb. Arrow moves out, doesn't really accomplish too much. Hits the bear, but there's not going to be any follow-up initiation. Arrow do have everyone alive. They're poised to really defend this tier 2 tower in the middle lane, and we are seeing Titan be very hesitant at pushing into this tier 2. They are still somewhat afraid of Arrow, and well, like you mentioned, Blaze, when it comes to the late game, Arrow does seem to have the scarier lineup, and that is kind of reflected by Titan being so afraid to push in here. We even have Yamate over on the other side of the map, just farming up, not really doing too much, looking for maybe another double damage item or two to pick up. She does have the Yasha, so it's looking to be a Manta Styles, the next item on that Mirana.
Yeah, look at the Radiant Courier, though. That actually almost got picked off by Titan. That would have been a huge pick off. That would have been DDZ's Scythe dead for 3 minutes. Instead, Net gets caught out by himself. A good Radiant Observer ward placed earlier allows them to dodge out with the Courier and later on find a free kill. So, actually didn't pan out at all the way Titan wanted it to. And since they've gotten so much Roche experience, Venge is actually down for a considerable amount of time. Usually this is just like a 30-second death timer. Instead, it was 45. And we are going to be seeing them making some movements based on this.
Lance, he has 2 heroes from Titan closing in on him. There's a Nyx Assassin. He has to pop that Lincoln Sphere properly. Mirana is revealed though, so I don't know. Okay, out comes the stun as well. They're going to go ahead, use up the orb. And I don't think they'll be able to kill him off well. There's the mana burn. It's just like a wild goose chase. Lance is running around in circles and buying as much time as possible. Oh, the stun misses! What the heck? He's like blinking forward trying to find the stun.
Wow.
And Lance actually escapes. What the heck?
Juke City. Like, I don't know why he didn't just TP the second that they had thrown out their spells. I guess because the arrow would have still been on point. But I don't know. Like, he just gets to run around in circles. The mana burn. Usually, an Morphling is a dead Morphling if you don't have the mana to support yourself. But he was able to just barely get out of dodge. And that's just absolutely ridiculous that was allowed to happen. But the Nyx Impale isn't as easy to land as it used to be. That's for sure.
Yep, definitely. Now that it's changed to his skill shot, you gotta have a little skill if you want to get that Impale off. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to get it. Kind of have to anticipate. But regardless, Titan's still in a pretty solid position. Yamate, I would like to see, you know, once he gets another damage item on him, I think he'll be really scary. For the time being, he's kind of in that in-between stage, I feel. He's got a good amount of survivability and some right-click damage, but not enough to be extremely scary like this Morphling currently is with the Ethereal Blade.
Yeah, right now, kind of being conservative with his strength morphing. He is actually running 41 for 92 as far as base strength to agility ratio. Now he's getting a little bit more aggressive, dropping it down to a sub 20, and that means he will be able to deliver a huge burst of damage. We see it here, burning down the Vengeful Spirit and essentially forcing Titan's retreat outright.
Oh man, that's just got to be so frustrating to fight against. Titan, they have their squishies, and Vengeful Spirit got caught a little out of position and was easily picked off. Want to see Arrow move towards that ancient camp, kill off those illusions. Other than that, though, no one's going to end up falling for the time being. So, Arrow, I mean, they have the Hex on Invoker. They're starting to get a good amount of farm. The Bear has a Basher as well, so he's going to have a lot of lockdown. Lance is already looking pretty darn scary. Are we going to see a turnaround at some point in this game, or are we looking for any key items or situations that happen to turn this game around?
I kind of already feel like it's been happening. I mean, they got now the Ethereal Blade Manta and Linken's on the Morph lane. They're going to be moving in very rapidly towards an AC on the Bear, and they've already got the Scythe of Ice out on the Invoker. So I kind of feel like now is their time to shine. This is really when they just look for one single pickoff. If they can bring down like an Ember Spirit with a couple of good chain stuns before he pops his cheese or gets out with a Fire Remnant, from there you just look to just completely roll all over them. But yeah, I don't know if it's really going to hinge on an item at this point. It's really going to be about the movements. Right now, 4 smoked heroes hiding out. Yamate kind of trying to bait in the mid lane here, but it looks like nobody's going to take that one.
Yeah, actually, Arrows, they're pretty much all in the top lane at this point. So if Titan knew that, they could kind of actually just push this tier 2 tower down and at least force a few people back. DDZ on the high ground, patiently waiting for the rest of his teammates. We should see a few rotations come in. Alright, we got Earthshaker porting home, but this tower is getting pretty low on health. With the illusions, yeah, it's going to fall. Arrow looking to trade tower for tower, and they're going to get that top one very easily. Bit of a team fight engagement now. We're going to see Ohio trying to get a stone up, realizing he won't get it. And there's a little bit of back and forth. Out comes the Sunstrike, doesn't hit anything. We're actually going to see a lot of Titan just kind of TP home, trying to see if they can at least force Lance away. He's going to just go ahead and replicate back to home base. So no harm, no foul on either end, just a tier 2 tower for a tier 2 tower.
Yeah, essentially exactly what Arrow wanted. They wanted just a little bit of a delay play there, as there was only 30 seconds left on the Mirana's Aegis, so taking that out of the picture, it's essentially killing off the Mirana for free just by waiting it out. Now they have to worry about Roche control in the next few minutes, but for now, things have settled out nicely. They, like you said, had the even exchange for towers, and luckily DDZ had that Force Staff to get out of a really bad position. So all in all, I would say Arrow Gaming have a leg up, in my opinion, for this next fight, despite the significant disadvantages they've faced until this point. I mean, 17-11, Titan has that. They do have I would say about 6,500 experience lead, as well as a 2,500 gold lead, but the bottom line is if the initiation's is right, then Arrow do have a lot of potential for a comeback here.
And we're going to see Lance as well as Shadow Shaman in the bottom lane, joined by the rest of them. Ohio. Oh,
ooh, Hex!
He is spotted. He's Hex, but he put out Spike Carapace as well. There's going to be a switch as well. And Vengeful Spirit just blown up, but it's going to be a trade for the Earthshaker.
There's no shame in it.
Titan, they're going to find the ward, pick that off. So once again, a very even trade. No real advantage as far as gold gained or experience gained on either end. Yeah, still even game, I feel. I guess you feel, Blaze, that Air has a little bit of an advantage. I don't know, man. I think it's still quite even at this stage. Yeah. It could really go either way.
I would definitely agree with you there. It's that they're at this even stage where Arrow have the most potential to do something with it. Like, I would say that they have equal potential to take a fight, but if Arrow takes a fight, they can do so much more with it. Like, they don't have to worry about an Earthshaker turtling up with Echo Slam. They don't have to be hesitant about their movements nearly as much. Now going for the Hex into Cold Snap onto X, but he gets forced after way twice over now. And that will keep him alive.
Yeah. He's still alive and healthy, actually. Didn't even lose too much health when all said and done. Ember Spirit as well, I want to point out, after going for the single Battle Fury, he built into a Daedalus and then a Lincoln Sphere. So sometimes we'll see Ember Spirits really just try to, put on the Battle Furies, get 2 or 3 of them for max cleavage. But he's deciding that I want to be careful of maybe the shotgun or the stun coming out from Earthshake, the Invoker, or Shadow Shaman, and just playing it a little bit more on the safe side. And with that Vengeance Aura from the Vengeful Spirit, he still does have a high amount of damage he does. Like a second battlefield.
Yeah, I suppose so. One thing I want to highlight on, since we do have a little bit of spare time before we have to worry about... Oh, wow, Roche is not up for 2 full minutes, so Titan lose out on that one a little bit. But anyways, since we do have a spare moment, one thing is that Vengeance Aura actually won't apply for very long in the Sleight of Fist. Essentially, the way that Omni Slash and Sleight of Fist mechanics work with auras is that they only persist for 0.5 seconds into that SOF. So the first 2 slashes will be enhanced by Vengeance Aura, and then the rest of it won't get any benefit at all, which is actually kind of unfortunate for that synergy. But it's just it's an interesting interaction. I think in Dota 1, they keep it up no matter what, but in Dota 2, it's limited to that 0.5 fade time.
Oh, okay, well, I honestly didn't know that. Today I learned. So that's cool, very interesting mechanic, and actually, could make a bit of a difference for Titan. That's both teams. They're poised. They're thinking about Roshan. That seems to be where the next big fight is going to come. Arrow in the enemy's kind of ancient area near the Roshan pit. They're actually in a pretty good position if they want to take him, but Titan still, they have 2 paths they can go into the pit from if they so desire. And Mirana's in trouble. A lot of DPS being thrown his way, but he's still okay. The Lincoln Sphere helping him out a lot. Ohio doing a bit of stunning as well, and DDZ actually really low on health. He has to kind of back up for the time being. We're going to see a few Sentry, certain wards be popped down as well. And more sparring, but no actual deaths on either end. These teams are playing very, very cautiously when it comes to these fights.
Yeah. 4-staff gaming for sure. Like, these hexes would be the killing blow for any person if there weren't all these 4-staffs online for Titan. But you also have to imagine that DDZ's happy to disengage. He was sitting on only like 400 health, so that quads regen kicking in for the next fight, pretty important. But Roche finally going to spawn right under the nose of Titan, and it looks like Arrow have to be very careful about their movements. Like, they're going to skate it out with the Forge Spirits, but that'll be killed off, I believe, by one of their heroes, and actually they're going to jump in.
Okay, well, here they go. Ohio, he's sheeped up for the time being. He's throwing out a lot of damage. Echo Slam out from the Earthshaker. Instant buyback from Ohio. He wants to try to come back and contribute to the fight. Net is going to do a little bit of switching around, keeping his allies alive, but KYXY gets a kill, takes out the Shadow Shaman for the time being, and this Lone Druid really low on health. He's got to be careful. Down goes the other Shaker. The DPS coming out from KYXY is becoming very apparent at this point, but there's a very nice entangle coming out on Yameta, and he will be okay though. From the looks of things, Lance very low on health, trying to do a little juking, but not as lucky as early on in the match. He will not survive. And Arrow losing 3 members. It's still a 2-for-3 trade, including the buyback from the Nyx Assassin. That's, yeah. I guess over that extended fight, KYXY was able to really utilize that Sleight of Fist.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a ton of those off. It can hit units in fog. They just stayed on target. And I got to say, the reason that he even lived up to that point was because of the Vengeful Spirit swap. She has her second point in it. She was able to swap him out right when he got hexed up by the Shadow Shaman. There probably would have been shackles right after that. So if they didn't swap him, KOXY's dead right there. But they swap him out. He gets to put out like 4 different Sleight of Fists on multiple targets and really just shows the strength of that hero. So great play by the Vengeful Spirit, sacrificing herself for the greater good. And yeah, they were able to pin down Lance in the end as well, which is a pretty huge deal at this stage in the game. He is now down for the count, is not farming. They take the roast, Aegis and Cheese, and they just feel so much better after they engaged, especially since they had to deal with that gigantic Echo Slam. That was like a 4-man Echo Slam, but 4 staffs all over the place. They used them for to save 3 lives right there.
Shadow, take her.
So now they're going to try to go for some Moonlight Shadow movement just to deward a little bit here. They do have the Gem of True Sight up on Nyx, as well as a Cheese looking for a Lincoln's perhaps on the Nyx, but I I'm curious, yeah, the Statman was wondering what KOXY might be building next, possibly another Battle Fury, but if you look at Arrow's positioning, they're actually not that susceptible to the cleave. They've been spreading out in this kind of triangular formation where they have, like, this much distance between each of their members, and that makes it quite improbable for the Battle Fury to be all that worth it. They don't have any cluster mechanics, no Magnus, no Empower. So honestly, I could see him just going for like more raw damage output. Maybe Monkey King Bar, since Morphling's going to be having his Butterfly long term. Not too sure, but there are a lot of different possibilities in that court there.
Indeed there are. We're going to see the final Tier 2 tower fall finally on Arrow's end. Also Morphling decides that he wants to pick up a pair of shoes, both Boots of Travel and the Power Treads. He's doing a little bit of pushing before replicating back to the home base for the time being. That's, yeah, still a very kind of conservative game. Players continuing to play it relatively safe. Even in these big engagements, we're not like seeing everybody die. It's like 2 or 3 people die, but you know, enough people survive to keep people guessing who's going to end up taking the victory here.
Yeah, it's really hard to call at this stage here. I like that Vengeful Spirit just picked up a Hooded Defiance just to survive through this annoying shotgun burst. Like, maybe builds it up into a pipe to help the team against the Echo Slam, but for right now, happy to just mitigate some of that raw damage output so that Net can actually stay throughout these fights, because he gets burst so hard. But both teams fighting tooth and nail, trying to control the map a little bit, and despite the Geometry Sight being on the table for Titan, we do see 2 Observer Wards in place, though they may be short-lived if Ohio moves the right way. It looks like he'll bypass 1, and up here on the top, I don't know if they're ever going to make their way that direction. So for right now, they'll stand, and that gives some good perspective for DDZ and Lance to stay outside the base, push until they have to return when that Echo Slam is in its prime. Aghanim Scepter up on Earthshaker. A lot of potential from Johnny here.
And Yamasa actually just right-clicking down these towers. He's going after the melee racks as well. Where is Arrow? What are they up to? We're at least seeing in the top lane, Lance, he's trying to do a little bit of trading of his own. But in the main engagement here, right outside the Tier 3 racks on the top side, Invoker getting blown to pieces, throws out Meatball before he dies. Ember Spirit teleporting back to the home base, at least forcing away Lance for the time being. He's going to go ahead and come back home. It's a tower for tower trade, but Arrow do lose the Invoker. On top of that. Yeah,
it's the Rat Dota is the only thing keeping Arrow in this right now. I mean, obviously they had potential if they fought together as a team. They have the Aghanim's Echo Slam. You have to kind of cluster up to, you know, barge your way up this ramp. So there's a lot of potential for Earthshaker to make a play there. But DDZ getting caught out in no man's land, and that was quite unfortunate indeed. Ohio knew about those wards, so he's going to deward them right now. But yeah, the big deal is that Lance was able to force the 2 or 3 TPs, and by then the death of the Invoker wasn't as consequential, though still putting the pressure on these racks. He's going to be forced to buy back.
Yeah, this melee racks is just getting right-clicked to death, and yeah, down it goes. We're seeing a buyback from the Invoker. He moves forward, tries to get off a bit of a combo, but doesn't do too much damage overall to the Mirana. Also avoids the stun from the Earthshaker. This is just not looking too good for Arrow at all. Their initiation failed pretty darn hard. Shadow Shaman, low on health, actually gets killed. He's out of the fight for the time being. Rana getting hit with a shotgun blast to the face, but she still seems to be in pretty good spirits. Over half health, and yeah, they get a pair of barracks, and they lose 0 people, and the Shadow Shaman's dead. I think we're kind of going to see this continued trend move up to the top pair of barracks as well. And WP still has the Aegis as well. He can burn that if he wants. He doesn't care necessarily if he dies. But the next assassin, a little bit too over-aggressive. He's dead on the high ground. The gym now in the Lone Druid's hands. We're seeing a Sunstrike go out, trying to do a little bit of damage. As everybody remains alive on Titan's end. Besides, of course, the next assassin for the time being. Titan, they are being chased. Nice switch, though, from that, keeping KYXY alive for the time being. And just using a little bit of extra time burning through the silence, and nice turnarounds. Titan getting more and more kills.
Yeah, and they might even...
Oh, they don't get Lone Druid, but they do get the bear.
Yeah, and Morphling forced to buy back. Not going to be progressing in items anytime soon, and this could be a really easy opening for Titan to try to seal the deal right now. The top Tier 3 backdoor protection is down, and this is gonna get ugly. And I gotta ask, where's the Earthshaker been? He's thrown out a couple of Fissures, hitting 1 or 2 targets, but no Echo Slam. An Aghanim Scepter, level 13, Earthshaker needed to be in the big fight. He was looking for a too ambitious of a slam. He was looking for something huge, and he just needed something medium to try to fight that out. They do end up picking off the Enchantress, some nice Adaptive Strike and the Sunstrike to finish it. But yeah, the Earthshaker just kind of falling short, and my goodness, net on it. The swaps are just perfect to keep his allies alive, and of course he always has that Force Staff available too, so he's not even putting himself in jeopardy. This has just been exactly what they needed to do. Control the fights, control positioning, so that the Scythe of Vice on the Invoker isn't a prime factor, and even the hexes coming out from Shadow Shaman can be nullified.
Yeah, it seems like Arrow, they just haven't been able to get that Echo Slam they've wanted on Titan. Titan's done a pretty good job at keeping their heroes pretty spread out throughout the entire game. Oh no! Monza in a bit of trouble. Oh, he's gonna get caught out of position, and down he goes. Too many Arrow members nearby, not a chance in hell for him to survive.
He's too used to getting Force Staff like 8 times every time he gets hexed, but not gonna be so fortunate here.
That's true, and you know what, Marana? She is still so rich, decides to buy a Monkey King bar behind that depth and still has 3k gold in the bank.
6 slot plus buyback. That's all set. Good to go. That's pretty much as big as you can get on Marana, unless you're talking Divine Rapier tier. Like, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so Marana, excellent position to be in as the Marana. KYXY as well, deciding to go for the double Daedalus build over multiple Battle Furies. So straight up his high DPS target, bit of an engagement net. He's low on health, getting Force Staffed away, but shotgun. Down he goes. So Arrow Gaming doing pretty good in that engagement, getting a few pickoffs here and there, but I mean, they need to make this count. If they can kind of at least trade for a barracks, maybe, you know, they can come back in this game, but it's still not the best position for them to be in.
Yeah. One thing about the Ember Spirit's build-up now, he has gone for that second Daedalus, so he is going to be critting much more consistently. I mean, it's a okay, wow, speaking of, I don't even see it on screen, the Sleight of Fist's radius is so big. We do see big pickoffs, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, he was able to get a pretty early kill, or easy kill on the Shadow Shaman. Not even the wards were down, and he's just going to continue swiping around. There's a lot of damage though, and the melee racks will look like it's going to fall to Lance as well as that bear, just doing 6 DPS. They're moving forward, trying to get Johnny, and they're going to get him. And with everybody back except for the Vengeful Spirit, it's looking like Arrow, they're down 3 members, going to be down 2. Invoker, does he have a buyback?
No, he used it earlier, so it's down for a minute and 10. That's very unfortunate, to be honest. I mean, the Earthshaker should be up just barely in time. Also has buyback in 45 gold, but I mean, they committed so hard to that melee racks. Like, they got the great pickoff with the shotgun, to be expected against these low HP supports, but you just see how hard KYXY can hit. There was some math on it. Now that he is running only 1 Battle Fury instead of 2, he doesn't do as much damage per Sleight of Fist, but the damage is more focused. So when he does crit, he can just absolutely destroy the Shadow Shaman with almost no threat to him. And now they're going to be pushing in, and this could be the game decider.
Yeah. Rana has the Lincoln Sphere on her as well, just going to town on the tower, forcing out the fortification. There's that Glyph, the Glyph. The wards are down. Serpent wards, 23 seconds left on this Invoker. Arrow have to try the buy time. Morphling really low on health. He's forced to go ahead and replicate back to the main basin. This bear has died for like the gajillionth time in this game. He's falling over and over.
If the bear just died, he doesn't have it available again. He's just resummoned after the fight down on the bottom tier 3. So that's no bear at all, and that's a useless lone druid. He has no items, essentially.
Yeah, this bear, not useful whatsoever. There's going to be a nice stun from the other Shaker. EMP as well, follow up. Very nice combination, but and they haven't managed to kill off anyone. KYXY a little bit low on health. He's used his cheese. They're moving in on Lance now. He's low on health, getting swapped away. Trying the kite around. Very nice ultimate coming out from the Earthshaker. He will fall to his death. But Lance will die as well, and with only 1 member dead on the Titan's end, and 4 dead on Arrow's end. I think that's the GG. There it is. GG, well played. Called out from Arrow. It was a good attempt from them, but eventually Titan, they had the better teamwork and the better team fights that favored them. I also feel like Arrow just the lone druid got shut down. I feel a little bit too hard in the early stages, and that really hurt them throughout the mid game and even most of the late game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the life of a lone druid in this metagame, is that you just get focused down so hard, your bear dies too much, and throwing them on the off lane, of course, was a really big part of that. Enchantress is going to be set up very well in her own jungle. She's going to be ganking actively, and we saw that on the Invoker too, but he bounced back. He got the Midas, he got some easy cash for that Scythe. The problem was by then there were 3-4 staffs out, and he wasn't able to really deal with that. But yeah, the lone druid wasn't as prime of a player. It was all on the shoulders of Lance and the Morphling, and the Echo Slams also weren't really where they needed to be until that last one. The last one was really good, but it was too little too late. In the end, Titan take the second game in this best-of-5 series and could be well on their way to a 3-0 shutout. So, of course, Arrow's still in it. They're going to be fighting. Cannot lose a single one if they want to try to take this match, but it's going to be an interesting one here in the Western Digital Dota 2 Pro Series. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed thus far. If you enjoy the commentary, you can always follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/blazecasting, as well as twitter.com/yeahwhiplash. And, of course, if you don't like it, then you can send us some feedback. Just tweet at us there. Also have the Statsman. He's providing some stats at Sephiroth_VG. And check him out as well. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, Western Digital Dota 2 Pro Series. We're going to be going on into Game 3 in just a few minutes, but would also like to shout out Western Digital themselves for sponsoring the tournament. They are bringing you guys storage, so if you guys are shopping for any hard drives or anything like that, look into the WD Black Series. They have some great specifications, really, really good piece of equipment. So anyways, thanks for tuning in once again, and we'll see you guys on the next one.